kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome everybody to Indianapolis Motor Speedway here in Speedway, Indiana for the Brickyard here tonight. I'm Alan Bergen. Alongside me, my broadcast partner all the way from Oregon, Mr. Chris Murphy. Chris, how's it going?
Excellent, Alan. How you doing tonight, buddy? Really, my first night here with the Icon Racing League, and really looking forward to it. Really excited to be here for this race at Indianapolis tonight. Should be an exciting one.
Absolutely, and here we are once again. And I got to tell you, Chris, it's been so exciting here, going, through the excitement here of the season with the Icon Cup Series. As last week, the series took on Dover, and it was Nathan Finnegan who conquered Miles the Monster, Braxton Deweese, and Cal Purcell rounding out your podium. The Monster Mile proved to be a worthy opponent as it effectively eliminated half the field by the final lap. And, but, as we said here, Nathan Finnegan prevails as the winner here. Now we shift our focus to Speedway, Indiana, where we are at the Brickyard, the yard of bricks. And I cannot wait, Chris. I know you're excited to see who will be kissing the bricks at the end of the night.
I missed the race at Dover last week, but I covered a few races at Dover the last few weeks, and it has been challenging for just about any league, any class of car has been there. So I can understand that, how only half the field would finish last weekend. But, I'm catching up here a little bit. So looking at the point stand is Brian Smith out in front. Like I said, Finnegan won last week at Dover, picking up his 5th win of the season, kind of securing that 2nd spot in the points right now. So we're looking at qualifying here, just finishing up. And we're going to see who's out on the pole, see who was fast. We watched earlier. I watched a lot of practice before we got here, Alan, and boy, these guys are really struggling with the car off of 4. It is really loose. The track's hot out there, and it's going to be a challenge. You can see the track temperature at 121 degrees, and that is really going to make these cars loose, especially off these corners. So looking for a lot of action here, and just going to be a good evening.
Look, it's a hot one on the track, but I tell you what, Chris, it is 85 degrees in the stands with 59% relative humidity. So a little bit sticky out there under a partly cloudy sky. And I know you're out there on the West Coast, so humidity, you think, 59% humidity, not horrible because it's a dry heat in Oregon. But here in the Midwest, the humidity is everything. Now, this track is over 2 miles, and Chris, they actually built, and you and I are dirt racers at heart. They built a dirt track inside of turn number 3.
Yeah, watching those midget races. What is that? The BC 39.
Yes.
Run there every year. That is just a great race they put on. That'd be really fun to go to. But Indy itself, just a unique racetrack. Just a traditional, but actually not non-traditional racetrack. You think of an oval, but this is more of a square, just 4 separate corners. And we're gonna see which driver can handle this the best, because this is definitely not something they're used to week in, week out.
As we get ready, we're going to go 96 laps. Stage 1 will end at lap 20. Stage 2 will end at lap number 40. 96 laps is distance. Here's how they're going to line up out of Buddy Motorsports. It's going to be Jacob Smith. And to his outside, a driver that, Chris, you normally see on Tuesday nights, Bentley Glazer, will line up second. On the inside of row number 2 will be none other than Brian Smith. And to his outside, Nathan Finnegan. And on the inside of row number 3, it's going to be Braxton DeWeese and J. Roll.
J. Roll.
Yeah.
That's his rapper name.
It is. Cody Neal's going to line up on the inside of row number 4 with Michael Taylor to his outside. On the inside of row number 5, you'll find Patrick Colby and Kevin Gunther. On the inside of row number 6, you'll find Travis Gilbert and Chuck Van Schaik to his outside. Going a little deeper in the field, Adam Balt will start 13th. Charlie Wider will start in that 14th position on row number 7. Kyle Diaz will start 15th. And to his outside will be the Rocket, Zach Lockett, starting 16th. Brad Delp, he'll start in that 17th position. Alongside him will be Nathan Brzezowski. Jake Champion will start at 19th, and starting 20th will be Anthony Tizio. Mike Grinnell will start 21st. Evan Petico, he'll start 22nd. Matt Everett will start 23rd, and Cody Eldred will start 24th. Going a lot deeper in the field, there in that 25th starting spot will be Hanover Fist. Tyrone Harris will start 26th. 27th will be Brock Kersey, and the owner here at Icon, Ryan Petty, starting deep in the field. Jonathan Duncan will start 29th. Charles Wood will 30th. Rolling off 31st will be Chris Camburn, and Robert Bloom will start 32nd on the field. 32 cars set to take the green flag here as they make their way down that back straightaway. Once again, stages are at lap 20 and 40 here tonight. Hopefully not a whole lot on stage. Hopefully, we're at a bigger track this week, so so we get ready to.
Yeah. And with those stages at 20 and 40, fuel mileage really not going to come into play here. We might see maybe a green flag stop in between at second and the end of the race after lap 40 going to 96. I think they're not going to be able to go 56 laps. But early on here, I think everybody's just going to be pushing hard. They're not worried about fuel. They're not worried about tires. Only 20 laps to go before stages. So I think we're going to see everybody pushing hard as they take the green flag.
Well, here we come into that fourth turn as Barney the flagman waiting patiently. He sees the field. We see the field. And Chris, there's only one thing left to do. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to pull the seat belts tight. Wipe the visor. Grandma, grab some honey buns because race fans, we're going racing at the Brickyard. Green flag is out. Barney's waved her green flag. We're going racing.
First one car's taking the green flag here in Indianapolis. We're going to get a good start from the outside for Bentley Glazier. I think we're going to see Jacob Smith take that preferred inside line, get back out in front. Glazier pushes up the racetrack just a little bit, opens up that bottom for Brian Smith in the 78. They head down into turn number 2 for the first time down that long back straightaway. Jacob Smith settles in the front. Brian Smith going to take that second position, going to put Glazier back to third. Let's see if he can fall in line and see if he can keep up with those top 2.
Yeah, here they come screaming down the back straightaway. As Jacob Smith, Brian Smith, and Bentley Glazier continues to lead this field. And, Chris, we were talking off there. These shots right next to the wall. There are some of our favorite shots here tonight. As we are 96.
You see at least 1 or 2 cars catching the wall off of 4 right there. Everybody gets through the first time pretty clean, but we watched numerous times in practice drivers losing that car off that 4th turn. It's just real easy to get the car loose. You get up in the marbles up there. But so far, everybody making it through clean. Everybody kind of settled in here. Nobody, not like anybody's trying to do anything crazy yet. Jacob Smith established himself out in front about 7 or 8 car lengths here in front of Brian Smith now. And we're all single filed out. Looking down underneath Glazier is Nathan Finnegan. He's going to take a look to the inside as they head into 3, but I think Finnegan with the line down there. Glazier kind of sees him and moves up. It's going to give Finnegan that inside off the corner. But Glazier with a good run off the top is going to be able to take that 3rd spot back away.
Going on board here. There we go. That's what we want. On the roof of Nathan Finnegan's race car. Nathan Finnegan out of Coventry, Rhode Island here. And you can see he almost got a good run there. Now, I know these guys had some issues in the real world today with the tires.
Tires are definitely coming into play, especially as hot as it is out there. What's the track temperature right now? It's 120 at the start. So, we've only got about 20 laps to go before the first segment. So I think you're going to be able to just keep pushing. I'd be surprised if these tires go off that quick. But they're definitely going to have some trouble with some grip as hot as it is.
Right now, track position proving to be king here as Jacob Smith sets the fastest lap of the race at 53.15. And, oh boy, here we go. Look, I tell you what, in the real world, it's been a rainy weekend here in the Midwest. And right now, as we're watching Jacob Smith here in that Buddy Motorsports number 4, we talked about it off air. I want to give a shout out to the guys, Matt Curl, the owner of Matt Curl and Michael Rigsby. If you don't watch Flow Racing, you should probably watch Flow Racing because he's half owner of the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. We had a rainstorm, and I was at the Prairie Dirt Classic this weekend. We had a rainstorm come through right about 10 o'clock, and they worked their tails off to get that dirt track ready for the A-Main and Prairie Dirt Classic. And it was a great race. Kind of like what this race is here. 96 laps, 100 laps around a quarter-mile track is no easy feat. I could imagine being strapped into any kind of a race car at 1 a.m. and have to focus when you're probably about half tired.
Now, that would be pretty tough. I'm sure some of those guys took a nap during that rain delay, but that was a heck of a good race last night. I was not as crazy. Of course, you were there, but I just went to see if we watched the replay this morning, so I wasn't going to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning to finish that one. But
so knowing my luck, and I'm sitting there like doing math, right? And I start to do it because we have Icon here on Sunday afternoon, or Sunday evening rather. So I'm like, okay, if they rain this out tonight, we're coming back tomorrow. But nonetheless,
look at that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, here's this battle right now between Rex and Braxton DeWeese and Bentley Glazer. Wow, hello. If I could only talk.
That was, as the old joke goes, that was easy for you to say. But Nathan Finnegan got around Bentley Glazer, left that bottom open, and Branton DeWeese did the same thing. DeWeese followed him through. So Glazer losing 2 spots there in the middle of about 2 corners.
That is like the old, I was gonna say that's like the old iRacing thing where if I hit the wall, you're gonna follow me into the wall.
Exactly. So is it the Smith brothers up front in the Buddy Motorsports, because they're just kind of setting the pace here and running away from Finnegan and DeWeese here at 3rd and 4th.
Yes, that is the Buddy Motorsports contingent, and I tell you what, Brian Smith and Nathan Finnegan, they have not raced, with the exception of last week, have not been on. You know, they're like a magnet. You know, you have that one guy that you just constantly near all the time on the racetrack.
Yeah, usually when that happens, it's somebody you don't want to be near. But it looks like, you know, my first week here, but looking back at some of the results in the point standings, it looks like Smith and Finnegan run close together all the time. And it looks, you know, from their finishing positions, like they have some pretty clean races. So in this particular case, it's a little bit different. But I know in the past for me, whenever I was racing with somebody and I always found myself around that one person, it was always somebody I didn't want to be next to.
Yeah, so right now, so, you know, so when it comes to stage racing, Chris, I look at it as a different perspective. I look at it as stage 1, you're going to learn about your car. You're learning. You're not going to do anything too egregious. And then when we get to stage 2, that's when we're going to start, okay, we know what we got. Let's go to work. You know, this is a fixed setup league. But anyway, we could go to work on the race car here in stage 2, try to start picking up points, and then, you know, stage 3, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah, I agree. That's just kind of like 3 little mini races. But, you know, as we're looking at this, Finnegan is actually starting to run down Brian Smith here. Once he got clear of Bentley Glazer, he kind of left them back in the dust, and he's about 2 or 3 car lanes back now. So Finnegan now looking to make this a 3-car battle up here in the front.
Here at lap 8, we got some of the biggest movers right now. With Ryan Petty, who's gained 6 spots. He's currently in that 22nd position. You know, Ryan Petty deep in the field. You know, your highest, biggest mover right now is Zach Lockett.
What happened right there? With Jacob Smith, I didn't see what happened there, but he just lost 3 spots. He just lost 2 spots, leading the race right there, and he come off at 4. I don't know if he got a little bit looser or what. Did you catch that? But he's back 3 spots now, or back to 3rd now.
I did not. I think he may have got loose. What we're gonna do is
once again.
We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna step aside for a quick, brief moment, as you know, live timing decides it wants to be yucky. So, anyways, we're gonna step aside real quick for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. welcome back to the Icon Cup Series, where right now Brian Smith has essentially just taken the lead away from Nathan Finnegan. Now, I want to welcome everybody back from commercial break. First, while we're away, Brian Smith had just passed Nathan Finnegan for the lead here. It's been Buddy Motorsports versus Collar City Racing for a good while. Actually, for most of the season. Brexton DeWeese, is always a contender at these races, especially these bigger racetracks. We are about 7 laps away from the end of stage 1. That will end on lap 20.
Yeah, we were going to break. Finnegan got around Smith for the lead, but like you said, Smith took it back. But also looking back to that third position, Jacob Smith, our early race leader, is now falling back. Braxton DeWeese got around him there for third. And DeWeese now setting his sights on these top two, looking to make it a 3-car battle for the lead. But Smith looks to be struggling here. He led a lot of this race early. We saw him, we're still not quite sure how he lost the lead, if he got in the wall and got loose or whatever. But he's falling back now into the clutches of Bentley Glazier with fear of dropping back another spot or two. But we watch these guys kind of serpentine down the front straightaway here trying to break the draft. Reminds me of, I like to watch Kenny Wallace's Coffee with Kenny. I remember a little story he told here a couple of weeks ago where he was, Earnhardt talked to him one day, and Earnhardt was telling him, Kenny, when you're behind me and you see me weaving like that, he says, don't follow me. Just go straight. So I'm kind of thinking the same thing here with these guys. As you see them trying to break the draft, I think sometimes if you just go straight, don't follow that guy down to the bottom and across the racetrack, you may actually gain a little bit more of an advantage.
Absolutely, and it's cool to see even the stock cars will do the Indy snake down these long straightaways. Now, this track is essentially a rectangle with four corners. As we come down that back straightaway, and we're gonna go on board with one of my favorite drivers here, who I'm a little bit biased, but I'll root for him, and that is Travis Gilbert out of Napoleon, Michigan. And that track number 22. Now, you can see it right up against that wall, and then you got to come all the way down to that, almost to that inside corner. Now, for a couple, 2-3 years here, they ran this race as a road course.
I guess I didn't see those races. I haven't been following his cup as much as I used to. So, what did you enjoy the road course more than the oval?
Look, when it comes to Indianapolis, it's always got to be on the oval.
I would tend to agree.
Not saying
looking up in the. Go right ahead.
I was gonna say, not saying that the road course is a bad thing, but it's an oval race.
I'm looking up in the YouTube chat. We got our buddy Shane Cochran up here saying, "Go Allen." And then we've got the Shaney, and they're reminding us that Patty is moving through the field, and he sure is. Ryan Patty started back in 28th, now up 9 spots, up to 19th right now. So we got some guys, we got some people in the YouTube chat chiming in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching us.
I'm glad Shane. I'm glad Shane chimed in to the YouTube.com live chat. We want to thank everybody. Do us a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get those bells ringing, so that way you're notified every time that Icon is up, is live. I mean, look, it's a free thing to do. Not only that, but I do have a proposition. I can't believe I'm going to say it, and I'm sure YouTube will hold me to it. But I have a certain next-gen car, as we got our first kicker down pit road, that's Charlie Whitener. And it's painted up with a certain adult beverage, Mallarts. And Shane and I talk about Mallarts all the time. If we get 5,000 subscribers, I'll take a shot at Mallarts on the air.
That didn't seem like that much of a stretch for you, though.
I mean, I'm from St. Louis. It's just Chicago.
We got Champion loose off right in front of Patty there. Jake Champion got down on the grass right there. Just about lost it in front of that 30 Orion Patty. He did a good job of saving it. Good job of Patty not running over top of him.
Yeah, let's see what happened there.
Just touched the grass just a little bit there.
Here's that pass on Jake Champion right here. Now this is a pass for 16th position. I mean, Ryan Patty just passed Jake Champion like sitting still.
They took advantage of him making a little bit of a mistake there. Going to move up another spot. So Ryan Patty now up to 16th, up 12 spots. Moving through the field here. And as you said, we got a couple cars starting to pit here. We're about 1 or 2 laps away from the end of this stage. So taking advantage, coming in the pits now before the stage is over with. Should help move them up a little bit as we restart. To start stage number 2.
Yeah, right now, here we are, lap 20. When Brian Smith comes back around, he'll be the stage 1 winner, along with Nathan Finnegan. But look who's back there. As Charlie Widener is a lap down. He will be the free pass car. Nathan Finnegan right behind him, and then Braxton Deweese is going to bring up to 3rd position there. And that number 8, James on Main.
I'm scrolling back through the field myself. It looks like our early race leader, Jacob Smith, also came down into the pits on that last lap. So let's see where it puts him once this goes to caution after the stage. We're on the last lap right now. Coming to the end of stage number 1, Brian Smith out in front, Nathan Finnegan, Braxton Deweese, your top 3.
Yeah, here we are. Stage 1's going to go to Brian Smith, Nathan Finnegan, and Braxton Deweese going to round out the top 3. And at the end of stage 1, we're going to go under caution for the first time here tonight. As Bentley Glazer, Roll, Neal, Michael Taylor, Patrick Colby, Travis Gilbert, and the Rocket, Zach Lockett will round out your top 10 here and then into stage number 1. Now I imagine after running 20 laps, these guys are going to be coming in for some tires.
I sure would think so. You take advantage of this caution right here, come down and get some new tires on. Fill it up with some fuel, go to that next run. We only have 20 laps to go to the second stage. Actually, probably only about 19 or 18 by the time they get going again. But right now, Brian Smith and Nathan Finnegan look to be the two class of the field right now. And we'll see what happens to Jacob Smith. He was leading the race early, he looked pretty dominant, and then struggled and fell to the back. So we'll see what he can do once he gets some new tires on. But
absolutely, these guys are going to start to catch that pace car. We're going to let these guys come down pit road, then we're going to have a quick conversation with our stage 1 winner, Brian Smith.
It's really surprising. We had 31 cars start the race. Actually, 32 cars start the race tonight. I think they're all still on the racetrack.
And that's the great thing about this league. Only 2 cars allowed down, and that's Charlie Widener and Hanover Fest. These guys are going to make that long trek. Now these guys are going to enter into turn 3.
Brian's trying to break the draft there on the caution. So like you said, that 95 of Charlie Widener is going to be the lucky dog here as we're going to come in. Pits are going to open up. We'll see who's going to dive down in. I really expect just about all the leaders come in. I don't think you can go 40 laps. So I don't think you're going to take a chance to go to stage 2. So you're going to have to come and get some tires, get some fuel here at least.
And that's what we're going to be watching towards these guys round turn number 3 and 4. And pits should be open.
Pits are open. And you can see all the leaders coming down into the pits. Only car standing on the track is that lap car, Charlie Widener. And the pits are getting busy. So many times on these... when you see this many cars entering the pit, you see somebody make a mistake and spinning on pit road. But these guys all get down clean. Hopefully we can get no penalties on here. Everybody get down here, get into the pits, get some tires on, come out without any penalties. A long pit road here. What is pit road speed here, like 55 or 60? See everybody taking on 4 tires. Jacob Smith's going to inherit the lead here after pitting 2 laps early, so he's going to have about 4 to 5 lap older tires than everybody else once they come out, but good way to get himself back up to the front after the early mistake.
Yeah, just as you say that, we're coming off pit road. We're going to go ahead and talk to our stage 1 winner. We're going to bring Brian Smith up to the booth. Brian, is Alan and Chris up in the SRM booth? You got a copy?
I got you. What's up?
Hey, man. Congratulations on winning stage 1 here.
Yeah, thanks. Felt pretty lucky to get that one because I think Jacob would have had it, but looks like he got super loose off turn 4. So thankfully he was able to regather it there and, just kept Finnegan behind me. We got side by side there for a second, but felt like as long as I held the top, I'd be okay. And sure enough, that prevailed.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, I want to touch on real quick before we get back going here. It seems like week in and week out, we watch you and Nathan Finnegan. It seems like you both just have a magnet attached to your cars. Now I know last week at Dover, not the weekend that not the race you were hoping for, but it looks like you're looking for redemption here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I won this race last year. This is a track that I do like racing at. Obviously, we have the new aero package and tire model on this car, but yeah, I do love racing at Indy, and it's going to be a battle, I think, between me, the 6, the 4. I think we might see the 8, the 38, so it'll be fun to see how it shakes out. Just going to be a matter of getting that pit strategy right to get out front at the end of the race, because whoever wins this thing's probably going to have the clean air.
Well, look, man, before we get you back down to Buddy Motorsports, once again, congratulations on winning stage 1 and good luck.
Thank you.
And that was the voice of Brian Smith out of Buddy Motorsports. There he goes. We're going to send him back to where he belongs. And there you heard it. It's going to be all about the clean air. And, like we touched on at the top of the show, Chris, Brian Smith not having the night that he was hoping for at Dover. But nonetheless, here we go, getting ready for stage number 1. It's going to be Jacob Smith and Cody Neal out front here as we get set for another 20 laps of high-flying, high-octane racing as these guys as Barney's awaiting the field to come back around.
Yeah, it looks like maybe Cody and Travis Gilbert only took 2 tires on that stop. That's going to move him up a few spots. So Cody kind of been out of the top 5 for most of this race, but now he is moved up into second place. Travis Gilbert moved up 6 spots there on that caution by taking on 2 tires. So we're going to see how that shakes out for these guys. But Jacob Smith once again pitted a few laps early before that stage ended. So let's see, if he's a kind of a sitting duck with those 4 or 5 lap old tires. We're going to see what Brian Smith can get himself back to the front.
As Barney patiently awaits the field here. These guys are coming down that short stretch back into turn number 3 and 4. As the field should be making its way into turn 4 right now. There they are. It takes a minute. Nonetheless, here we go through the Geico restart zone.
I think Barney's waving the green a little early there. Truck's not even. Oh, there it goes.
Pace truck is off, and we are back to green flag racing here.
All right, Jacob Smith going to bring him down to the line, and it looks like he's going to get a pretty good jump on that outside of Cody Neal, but Brian Smith right on his back bumper, and Brian's going to be able to move up into that second spot in front of Cody. Cody around, got a car around the 38th around. He's going to get collected. We are going to have, this is the big one here at Indy. I didn't see what happened there, but it did look like the 38 got loose there. I don't know if he had any help or if he kind of lost it on his own, but that is one heck of a mess down there in 1 and 2 on the restart.
But here we go. You have to reach out and see. Oh, no.
Oh, a little help there from the 22. It looks like, I couldn't tell if he came down on Gilbert there or Travis just kind of got in his left rear, but just enough contact to send him around and cause a huge pileup right there.
We're going to go on board with that number 22 car. We're going to back it up to about right there. Searching. Takes me a minute. Here we are. We're going to go on board with the driver of the number 22 car. Here in just a second. There we go. So here's the start of this. Here's the restart.
So you can see Gilbert down on the bottom. You know, Gilbert's white down on that line. He got his nose just up underneath the 38 of Cody Neal. And I think Cody started to come down a little bit. I thought maybe he had him. He probably thought he had him cleared. Maybe the spotter said he had him cleared. You know, I can't really fault Gilbert there too much. He saw an opening, stuck his nose in there, and unfortunately, just a little bit of contact is going to send Neal around. It's going to cause our first caution from an accident here today at Indy.
Yeah, there it is from the TV camera. Oh boy! And then all chaos just succeeds. Zach Lockett makes it out as we come back out to the live shot there. Caution number 1 for cause here tonight. And that's going to bring Hanover Fist back to the lead lap here. And look, that's the one thing that can happen. I mean, stage 2 already off to an eventful start, if you will.
All right, we got 32 cars here, all going to be on the lead lap after this. Like you said, Hanover Fist going to get the lucky dog here, go and be able to go around and get back on the lead lap. Jacob Smith, Brian Smith going to be now out in front on the restart. Finnegan, so all of our regular hitters who are running up front early on in the race are all back to the front now, only with the wild card of Travis Gilbert now up to 4th, up 7 spots now, involved in that last caution, but it looks like he didn't take enough damage to hurt anything, so he's going to restart here in 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. Here at lap 27, we are under caution for the first time for cause with an accident involving Cody Neal. You know, while we got this breaking the action, you know, out here in Missouri, I don't know if you heard about this, but you know, racetrack fights do happen. And one racetrack here that's local to me decided, look, if you guys want to throw fists, throw. We'll do a hockey fight style. First one to the ground, the officials come in and break it up.
Isn't that the rule at the Chili Bowl? If you're gonna fight, you do it on the racetrack, not in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, look,
you know,
if you want to throw fists, if you want to throw hands, at least let everybody see it. Anyways, go check it out.
Well, I drove race cars for about 25 years, and I am not going to admit that I was involved in any fight during that period of time. We would not behave in that manner.
I think the statutes of limitations are up. If I remember correctly, you were a modified driver.
Modifieds and late models, yes, sir. Does that mean modified driver is a little more likely to fight? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I'm just saying that the aggression level has turned up.
Well, as I've always said, adrenaline will make you do stupid things.
Well, right now we are on the pace lights are out on the race car, or on the pace car. Wow. The pace car. And around the speedway here, 2 miles around Indianapolis Speedway. We're going to lap 96, but for the stage we're going to lap number 40. We're almost there. Jacob Smith, Brian Smith, it's an all-buddy motorsports front row. And I tell you what, these guys, when Travis Gilbert gets in the mix, these guys love racing with Travis Gilbert as these guys come down that long back straightaway. You know, here's the thing, Chris. This track, Indianapolis, is definitely one on my bucket list. I don't go to a lot of NASCAR races. I do more dirt racing than I do NASCAR racing. I mean, I got to go to Knoxville last season up here in Knoxville, Iowa, which was a dream. I had to pitch myself numerous times because I didn't know I was really there.
That's definitely one I want to go to outdoors. Another one for me that I have never been to that I'd love to get to. So, been to a few NASCAR races in my day, but mostly around Phoenix. Haven't made it to a big track like Indy or Daytona or Talladega yet. So,
we're gonna go on board with Nathan Finnegan for the restart here. You're gonna be able to see him get up through the gears as we get ready to come through the Geico restart zone. In 3, 2, 1. Not quite. And not quite, not quite. There's the restart box, and we are off and running.
Another good start from Jacob Smith there on the outside. Is he's going to be able to clear Brian? If he can clear him down into one to get down to that bottom line, and he's going to do that. So being teammates too, I don't think Brian's going to do anything crazy. So Jacob now back out in front. Brian Smith and Travis Gilbert, you see fighting up on the outside of Finnegan. With Finnegan with that preferred line down to the bottom, right on the white line off of turn 2. But here comes Gilbert up on the outside with a really good run. He is going to clear Finnegan down the back straightaway, and Finnegan has to settle in behind him there. It's back into 4, so Gilbert moving up one more spot, now up 8 spots to 3rd.
Yeah, these guys are going to be a little more egregious this time. Jacob Smith, Brian Smith, the Buddy Motorsports contingent, strong here. And, you know, we got 11 laps in the end of stage 1, or stage 2. Wow, I could do math. And there's that
3 wide race.
I was gonna say there's 3 wide racing, and looks like Cody Neal won the race to the beer stand. Braxton Deweese still on pit road.
That's a shame. Braxton was running really well early in that first stage. Was running in the top 3 for right there at the end. It's a shame to see him having troubles here. He's going to lose a few laps for sure. He might even be out of this one completely.
Michael Taylor in that number 08 car. Just right there in your... You know what? He said he had fun paint scheme for these next couple of races.
What's that say on the hood?
I don't know. We're going to see if we get a better...
Lap 31, 9 laps to go left here in this stage.
Long drink. Okay.
I'm not sure what that means.
Hey, I'm not either, but...
So Jacob Smith here out in front. It looks like cutting that first segment short coming into pit. A couple laps before this, the segment was over, is really paid off for him because he had fallen back through the field, but running really strong. It didn't look like the tire difference. About 4 or 5 laps on those tires is really making much of a difference on us. He's putting a little bit of distance on Brian Smith here, about 10 car lengths now. Travis gets loose a little bit there off the corner, but it didn't look like it affected him too much. But maybe Brian Smith gained a few car lengths down the front straightaway, but that's what got him earlier. Jacob getting loose off of 4, and he just about lost it there again.
Yeah, a half a second is what separates the two Buddy Motorsports drivers right now. And then you got Travis Gilbert. Let's insert him into the picture here. You know, this top 4 right now, I feel like if they could get some separation from Michael Taylor in the 08 car, that's another Buddy Motorsports car. You know, the top 5. So 3 Buddy Motorsports cars in the top 5 right now. And then you got some other teams mixed in there. I feel like that Buddy Motorsports team is really coming on strong here. You know, Brian Smith leading the charge. Jacob Smith has been there. You know, he's won a couple races, won some races this year. And I feel like that team collectively has just been overall a powerhouse in the Icon Cup Series. As Travis Gilbert dropping bleeding position, he's going to fall in line behind that 38 car.
Yeah, it looks like Travis must have got a little bit loose off the corner. He was running 3rd. Now he's back to 6th. And that's going to put Finnegan back up to 3rd. Earlier in that first segment, Finnegan was able to run down to Brian Smith and battle for the lead. Let's see if he can make up this distance now that he's got some fresh air.
Definitely stage 1 goes through without a hitch. Stage 2, we have that caution involving Cody Neal. Cody Neal done for the night, and I believe Braxton Deweese has followed suit. You know, and Chris, his crew chief is always or his dad is always in the YouTube.com live chat. So if you say Chris Deweese, he will give you the information that you'll need.
Yeah, I see Chris in there earlier rooting for Braxton. So unfortunately, getting involved in that big incident we had on the restart after the first segment is going to put him out of the race too. So like you said, Cody Neal and Braxton Deweese look to be both out of this race.
Running in the 8th position, you'll find the Rocket, Zach Lockett, and his teammate Nathan Brodowski out of Adrenaline Racing. These guys right here, so Nathan and Zach, And you'll even see the boss, John Ross, come in here, too. I haven't figured out a good nickname for Nathan Brodowski. Now, you know that in the dirt world, once you get a nickname, it just sort of sticks like glue.
Oh, for sure. Fortunately, I never had one that stuck, so that was good. But most of dirt racing world's all about nicknames. Like you said, as soon as you get one, it sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Oh boy, there he is in the number 93 car, the Rocket, that clock it. You know, and I tell you what,
I'm looking. Go ahead there.
This Jacob Smith, the Buddy Motorsports contingent, has just got some separation now. Now Nathan Finnegan and the top three is separated from Michael Taylor.
Yeah, I'm looking back through the field a little bit myself, and I'm looking at Ryan Patty and Jonathan Duncan, both now up 17 spots. Patty now up to 11th. He brought Duncan with him up to 12th. These two drivers charging through the field right now. Patty's looked really, Patty looked really strong in practice early. He had a top 5 time in practice, but looked to struggle in qualifying. So it looks like he's making up some ground here, getting comfortable, and now up to 11th and setting his sights on the 10th place car of Adam Ball. Sorry.
Absolutely. There's Ryan Patty in that Exalta. I think that was Exalta. If my memory serves me correct, that's the company that bought out DuPont, right?
That sounds correct. Yes. I answered that with like a little kind of like a question in my voice, I guess, but I think that's exactly right.
Well, either way, Ryan Patty in that 30 car making things happen here, just knocking on the door to the top 10, and that's his teammate just ahead of him in that number 19 car of Adam Ball. As we are getting close to the end of stage 2 right now, is it going to be Jacob Smith who is just dominated stage 2 from the drop the green flag, and we got a yellow. Oh boy, that's Brad Delph. And I believe that might be the end of stage 2.
It looks like here he starts to check up, comes back up the racetrack, and can make some contact with the 96er on the outside. And down into the inside wall hard. We saw that a lot in practice. That's the first time we've seen it here in the race.
Well, let's go back and see what happened, because, well, that's what we do here.
It looks like you got we'll watch it before we make a guess.
So here is Patrick Colby, Auburn.
He just gets loose right there in the middle of the corner, checks up, kind of saves the car. But as he's saving it, he kind of drifts up the racetrack, makes some contact with that car there on the outside. And that was a hard hit to the inside by the 72 of Brad Delph. Did a good job of saving the car, but if he had a whole racetrack, I think he'd have been okay. But when those other two cars come up on the outside of him, he just really didn't have anywhere to go.
I mean, I do give him style points. I believe that will be the end of stage number 2. 3 laps to go here.
Yeah, looking at Chris DeWeese there in the YouTube chat saying, yeah, they had 14 minutes of damage, so they are done for the night. So thanks for chiming in there, Chris, giving us a little inside information. So Braxton is out for the night. So unfortunate. He was running really good there early on.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese done for the night here. You just hate it for him. Here's the thing. We're getting closer and closer. And you mentioned, you hit the nail right on the head right before we came on air. The opportunities to get locked into the playoffs are becoming less and less. So the aggression levels of some of these drivers are going to be a lot higher. The frustration levels when things aren't going to go your way. Now, the thing here is, Braxton DeWeese, he's locked in. He's in the playoffs, so he's just trying to get some more wins and better himself for that playoff run, as Jacob Smith will be your stage 2 winner here. And just here in a minute, we'll get a chance to talk with them.
Everybody down in the pits here at the end of stage 2. Yeah, as you're saying, we're only 3 races before the playoffs start. next week at Iowa, and then they go to Watkins Glen there for race number 24, and then the round of 16 starts on Sunday the 17th at Richmond. So yeah, just 3 more races left to go. If you're back there in the middle of the field right now, trying to get yourself into the top 16 for that playoffs, just a few opportunities left to make up some ground.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it's Watkins Glen being the end, essentially the last week to get in. I think is a great regular season ending race. We're gonna bring up our stage 2 winner here in the end of the booth. Jacob Smith is Alan and Chris up in the SRM booth. Got a copy.
Yep, got a copy.
Hey, look, man, congratulations on winning stage 2. You know, stage 1 not ending the way you wanted to, but he's able to stay on the lead lap and do a little bit of strategy and essentially dominate stage number 2. What's going to be the secret sauce to to keeping that car out front?
Well, I just lost to Finnegan on pit road, so we're going to have to change things up a little bit here. Just ran out of talent in stage 1, cost myself another stage win, but was feeling pretty good stage 2, so we're gonna have to play with the strategy here, find a way to get back to the front.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I've been watching that 4 car all season long, and that confidence level just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. You know, it seems like you and Brian and Nathan just can't get away from each other.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good here at Indy. Confidence was definitely high coming in here. Had a great qualifying, and like I said, just ran out of talent. I think it was lap 9, and now we're in a sticky situation here behind the 6 car. So I'm sure Brian will find his way back up here, and me, Nathan, and him will have a nice, probably a nice battle to the end.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get you back down to that Buddy Motorsports team. Good luck, and hopefully we'll be talking to you on the other side.
Thanks, guys.
And that was the driver of the number 4 car, Jacob Smith. As we get ready to come back to green, the lights are out on that Iracing.com pace car. And here we go. We're getting ready to start stage number 3.
That Finnegan with a great pit stop there. Jumped 2 spots, came in 3rd, and he got by Jacob Smith and Brian Smith. It looked like maybe Brian struggled there in the pits, as he came in 2nd. He's going to come out into 5th. So interesting developments there after the pit stops, after the stage 2. Could make it pretty interesting. I think Jacob thinks he's going to have his hands full here with Nathan, as he kind of alluded there in the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I want you to put your driver hat on. We're going to call this segment Murphy's Law. What's going to be, put your driving hat on, you know, we watch stage 1, watch stage 2. What's Murphy's Law going to be to, or Murphy's keys to getting all the way to checker here in stage number 3?
Well, I just heard somebody in the voice chat here talking about clean air, and congratulate Nathan for getting that clean air out front. So I think that's the big thing. It's just if you can get out in front, get the clean air, you can kind of put the car wherever you want. You see some of these cars actually pushing a little bit up through the corners, and I think that's just from that turbulent air in front of them. So I think whoever can get to the front here first, we kind of seen that both stages. Whoever got to the front was able to kind of hang out there, other than Jacob making that mistake in stage 1. But I think if Finnegan can clear Jacob here on this restart, he is going to have a tough Jacob's going to have a tough time getting around him here, so we're just going to see who gets the advantage here as we come to the green.
Coming to the green, they will. The iRacing.com pace truck going to pull off, make the hard left onto the pit road here, and give the field to Nathan Finnegan, Jacob Smith, as we are coming back to green flag raising here to start stage number 3 through the Geico restart zone. And we are off and running here.
And it looks like Finnegan got the start that he wanted. He got some good jump, and he's actually able to move up the racetrack in front of Jacob Smith, block off that, and get that outside line where he can make a good dive down into 1, give him a good line. You can see he's already separated by about 5 car lengths. Sitting back there in 3rd is Michael Taylor in that 08 car. And Roll, is it J-Roll there in 4th now? We hadn't really talked about him, but now he's up here in the top 5. But here comes that 78 of Brian Smith looking to the inside of J-Roll, but not able to make a pass. So Finnegan with a really good start all the way down the back straightaway right now into turn 3, and already about a 4 car length advantage over Jacob Smith.
Yeah, here comes Michael Taylor and Nathan Finnegan trying to pull away from that number 4 car of Jacob Smith, just like you alluded to. Oh, Jake Champion goes around. Kevin Gunther showing crash. Let's see what happened there. Can't park there. Oh boy.
Looked like 31 and Kevin Gunther. Did he just kind of? I didn't catch that into that replay myself. Did he just get loose there? Or?
Well, I'm glad you asked because
You're gonna go back and find it again for it.
The beauty of rewinding. Look, I feel like I'm at Blockbuster. Be kind and rewind. And we'll
I think he might have got a little help from the 27. I think Gunther saw some stuff happening in front of him, checked up a little bit. He did. That 13 car come down in front. He has to lift a little bit, and then he gets a little tap from behind from the 27. That's going to turn him sideways up the racetrack. And then, unfortunately, is at the 15. Has nowhere to go. And just going to hit him right in the door. So, unfortunately, just a little bit of a kind of a domino effect. Some cars get together, get a little bit loose right in front of the 31. He checks up, and then just the 27 just didn't see it fast enough, and just enough of a tap to send him around.
Absolutely. Next week, don't forget, next week we go to the Iowa Speedway, the track that Rusty Wallace created. You know, I love short track racing here, and these guys are going to come down pit road. I love short track racing.
It's the okie doke. We thought they were going to come down pit road to come back out, so I think it was just they were going to do what the other guy didn't do. So, but you see the back half of the field really doesn't have anything to lose, so they're going to come in and take some tires.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, that's what I call the equivalent of a pump fake, and NASCAR is willing to do that. But nonetheless, next Sunday night, you'll find myself, Alan Bergen, and the one and only Dave Regal. That's going to be a fun one. Tune in at 8 o'clock Eastern for the Icon Cup Series as we go to Iowa. I cannot wait. And then Shane Cochran makes his return from vacation just in time to go road racing once again. Oh boy. When we go making left-right turns at Watkins Glen. You know, Watkins Glen to me, Chris, is still, it doesn't look very technical, but it's got some very technical spots in that road course.
Watkins Glen has always been one of my favorite tracks to drive on, one of my favorite NASCAR tracks. Unfortunately, I'd like to see him use the long version of the track instead of the little bit shorter version, but, you know, Watkins, I mean, you know, a lot of people say that NASCAR should only be ovals, but Watkins Glen, one of the road courses they ran for, I think, all the way back into the mid-'80s, if I remember correctly, but always enjoyed the races there. I might have to join you guys for that one, or at least watch it, one of the two.
I mean, look, we got an open booth policy here. Always more than welcome to join us in the
Well, appreciate that. Appreciate the invitation. It was a lot of fun. I've been trying to get in for these Sunday night shows. Icon, just a really great series with these guys, and they're showing us tonight why they're one of the best leagues out there. And it looks like, let's see, we got lights still on here, so at least one more time around.
Yeah, we should be coming back to green next time by, rather, as Barney's going to wave that furled flag to signal the pace car drivers that, hey, we're ready to go. Lineup is correct. The light should be coming out this time by. And there they go. We're getting lined up 2 by 2 Noah's Ark style behind that iRacing.com pace car.
You know, for me, I'm kind of an old school guy, Alan, and I'm not a huge fan of these stage races and the playoffs and all this kind of stuff. And the stages like this kind of show you. One of the reasons I'm not really a fan personally of it is, you know, these guys had some really great racing going on early, really clean. But then when you throw that stage and it's a mandatory caution, it bunches everybody back up. And as we've seen, basically going to green to restart both these stages, we've seen more cautions. So cautions breed cautions. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fan of those mandatory cautions just for that reason.
Absolutely, you get ready to go back to green flag racing here. Nathan Finnegan and Jacob Smith's going to be bringing the field back to green this time by. See, the lights are out on that iRacing.com pace car. You know, and that's the thing here is I wasn't a fan of it at first, but it's kind of like a pair of new socks. You kind of got to get used to it after a while. It grows on you, right?
Well, I think the socks I'm wearing right now have holes in them, so I don't know if I can really agree with you on that. So
Maybe it's time to get some new socks. But nonetheless, here we go, getting ready to go back to green flag racing. When the iRacing.com pace car peels off on the pit road here, that's going to give the field back to Nathan Finnegan and Jacob Smith. As they round up, it's such a long wait for Barney.
he's standing up there ready to go as the drivers come off of turn number 4. They'll see if Finnegan can get another good start like he did on the last one and clear Smith down into 1.
As the pace car peels off the pit road through the Geico restart zone, and we are back to green flag racing here from
Once again, Finnegan with another good start, but not quite as good as he had last time. As Jacob Smith's going to fight back up on the outside, but now here comes J-Roll looking to the inside of Smith. Was Smith able to fill that hole back into second? In the last restart, we saw Finnegan about 5 or 6 car lengths off of turn number 2. Right now, he's got Jacob Smith all over the back of him.
Yeah, Jacob Smith learned something on that last start when we came back to green for this stage. Here he goes, looking to make a move on the inside. Finnegan going to shut the door.
Jacob Smith looking pretty stout right here. But Finnegan with that clean air, you can kind of see as they get into the corner right there, Smith backs off a little bit. Maybe feeling some effects of that air. The car getting a little bit loose, a little bit hard to handle. He has to back off as they come off of turn number 4. We come across the stripe at lap 46.
Here we are. We got a 4-car breakaway. It's going to be Finnegan, Smith, Roll, Taylor, and insert into the picture Brian Smith. And we got a Finnegan on Smith battle here coming down to the back straightaway.
Yeah, unfortunately, Brian Smith lost some ground there on that pit stop at stage 2. Still back there in 5th, and so far has not been able to make up any ground.
Right now you got Travis Gilbert in that number 22 car. That could be a help to Brian Smith here, who's essentially holding on the top 5 for all that it's worth. But I think if Gilbert and Smith can get hooked up here and start a small little draft, then they could catch the number 08 car, Michael Taylor.
Yeah, definitely going to need some help right there because right now Brian Smith is falling back. Lost some ground here on that restart to that 4th place car. Looked like somebody up there in the front kind of caught the fence just a little bit. Saw a little bit of dust fly off the wall. And it looks like it might have been Jacob Smith again as he now loses his spot to J-Roll. Smith now falls back to 3rd. So just like we saw in stage 1 from Jacob Smith, makes a little bit of a mistake there off the corner, catches the fence just a little bit, and that is going to cost him one more spot.
And here we are. Here comes that number 08 car, Michael Taylor. Brian Smith has essentially caught Michael Taylor. Looking to the inside. Nathan Finnegan, meanwhile, back at the ranch. He's going to go quick time here with a 52.80.
Yeah, we saw Jacob Smith there again just a second ago get a little bit loose in the middle of the corner, and that's allowed Michael Taylor to run up on the back of him, and he's bringing Brian Smith along with him. So Jacobs looked like he's starting to lose the handle on the car just a little bit. He's got to get comfortable again. Caught the fence there, and I think he tried to make some adjustments. There you can see the car wiggle again right there, and he is going to move up the racetrack, and that is going to let Michael Taylor get by him for 3rd. We're 3 wide down the back straightaway. Brian Smith with a great move underneath the 08 of Michael Taylor down into turn number 3, and he is going to get a 2-fer here as he's going to get by Jacob Smith and Michael Taylor. Brian Smith now up to 3rd. What a great move right there. Took advantage of the situation. Back up to 3rd after fighting back in 5th for so long. Jacob Smith now fighting back up underneath Michael Taylor, but not able to make a move.
Jacob Smith unable to get underneath Michael Taylor. He's got another chance to try it. He's still got 4 more corners as we're getting close to lap number 50. Brian Smith in 3rd once again. He's trying to run down that 39 car of Roll and Nathan Finnegan. You know, the laps are starting to wind down, and I always like to say, and so are the glass, and so are the sands of the hourglass.
You're right. We are winding down. We're just 48 laps down. We started the 49th lap, so we're halfway through this race right now. Finnegan and J-Row 1 and 2, and they really liked what they were seeing in the mirrors back there with Smith, Taylor, and Smith going at it. That has let these two drivers get away a little bit. They're going to let him hopefully fight up by himself, but there's J-Row catching the fence himself coming off the corner. And we've seen that coming off of 4 quite a bit, just the car coming drifting up, catching the wall just a little bit. I always call it fence. It's a dirt track term, but J-Row catching the wall and going to lose a little bit of ground to Finnegan there. So Finnegan now with about a second lead.
Yeah, definitely here. We have Nathan Finnegan all by his lonesome out to a second. There's the eyeball test.
Brian Smith got some clean air right now as he has moved his way up to third. Let's see if he can reel these top 2 in. So he looked pretty dominant there in stage 2. But Finnegan, you know, I did hear somebody over the radio when we restarted stage 2 after Finnegan came out in the lead, just basically congratulated Nathan on the win. So I think some people there that maybe foresaw this, because it's just like we said, it's just if you can get out in front, get in that clean air, and not have to deal with any traffic around you. It's just you can do what you want with the car. You're not having to really fight it. You're not affected by that turbulent air from that car in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm glad to say that here, because here's the thing. Nathan Finnegan is doing Nathan Finnegan things, and we are under a caution flag this time. It's for Chris Camber showing crash.
Tyler Harris looks like.
Tyrone Harris there. Oh, yeah, camp marker there. That'll end your night.
Go back and take another look at that one to see really what happened, but it looked like Harris up on the outside. Let's see. Harris up on the outside, and it looks like maybe Camber picked up a little bit of a push, come up the racetrack. They just kind of met in the middle there.
And that's
unfortunately tearing up 2 cars.
And that's what we call in the racing world going for the same piece of real estate. Nonetheless, working lap number 52, and whoever came on race radio and said congratulations to Nathan Finnegan on the win, that's well, that's why we're running things.
Well, let's see. We are 45 laps left to go on. This is a come around. I mean, they definitely can't go all the way. 45 laps left to go. They definitely can't go all the way on fuel, I would not expect. So I think we've got to make at least one stop here. So I believe the leaders are going to take advantage of this caution right now and come down in. We'll see if they prove me wrong. I've been right about 50% of the time calling these races, so we'll see what happens. I don't hear much chatter in my ear of anybody saying they're coming in, but we'll see if Finnegan dives down into the pits as they're getting ready to come by pit road here in a minute.
Well, while they're going to do that, we're going to go ahead and step aside, take the commercial break here. We're going to go side by side. Welcome back to Indianapolis here, working lap number 55 of 96 for the Icon Cup Series. Jonathan Duncan is your new leader here with Travis Gilbert and Charles Van Schaik there. And that's your top three right now. Jonathan Duncan running away with 3/10 of a second.
Yeah, look, that caution shakes things up right here. Jonathan Duncan finds his way to the front. He hasn't pitted since lap 38, but he's found his way to the front. He's going to lead a couple of laps here. It looks like Travis Gilbert, Van Schaik, and Colby may have came in and pitted for maybe some fuel only here. They put themselves up to the front. So our leader right before that caution was Nathan Finnegan, finds his way back in 5th. So he was looking pretty strong out at the point with fresh air. Let's see what he can do if he's got to come through traffic, as he now looks to the inside of Patrick Colby. And that Crimson Tide, what number is that thing? 28 here. So Finnegan going to get by him now for fourth.
And there he is. Roll Tide. Go Auburn. Here comes the Rocket, Zach Lockett, looking underneath the inside of the 26 car.
Did you say Roll Tide, go Auburn?
I said, yeah, go Auburn.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure. So Nathan Finnegan now up to 3rd. Gets around Charles Van Schaik. Sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but who knows. Brian Smith now trying to find his way around. Looking to make a pass on the outside. We haven't seen anybody do that all day long. But Brian Smith up on the outside of Patrick Colby is going to take away that 5th position. And he is trying to bring along the 93 of Zach Lockett, not Jack, Zach Lockett. We're 3 wide now down the front straightaway. Kyle Diaz down there on the bottom.
Oh, I don't like this.
It didn't sound like anybody in my ear didn't like it either, but J-Roll, sorry, that was J-Roll down to the inside, up now back up to 6th with Brian Smith in 5th.
They're hoping to get this one sorted out. The Rocket, Zach Lockett, leading the way here.
You know, Jonathan Duncan has not pitted since lap 38. He's got 14 lap older tires than the rest of these guys. And he's actually starting to pull away here in that 13. That number 13 Chevrolet has put a little bit of a gap between him and Travis Gilbert, but Gilbert's got his hand full with Nathan Finnegan, our race leader here just a few laps ago. But you can just see that dirty air is really affecting him here. He's not able to charge up. But here comes Brian Smith now around Van Schaik. Van Schaik gives him the spot as they head down in the corner. Now Brian Smith sets his sights on that 3rd place car, Nathan Finnegan.
Now, if you want a master class of fuel saving, you watch the 23 car of Charles Van Schaik there in that GOAT Racing entry. He can save fuel just about with the best of them. You know, we haven't got to talk about him much all race, but he's one of those guys that are locked into the playoffs already, who won by doing what he does best, and that's saving a boatload of gas, and was able to, do the fuel strategy.
He just lost 2 spots. J-Roll and Zach Lockett both get by him there. Van Schaik, if he pitted back on lap 43. If he can go 53 laps to the end, I will be amazed.
Don't count him out.
That's a long, long way to go. Nathan Finnegan now looking back to the front here has now worked his way up on the back bumper of Travis Gilbert. You can see him kind of taking a little bit wider angle into the corner, which is going to give him a good run off the bottom. You know, not a lot of banking here at Indianapolis, only 9-degree banking, but it's still just enough if you can go in a little bit high. And you can see him right now wanting to take a look underneath Zach Lockett, heading down to the corner. Zach's going to shut the door on him, so Finnegan now trying to get back up into 2nd and set his sights on Jonathan Duncan. There he is again, kind of looks to the outside, fades to the outside, jumps back to the bottom, and he is going to have 2nd spot. So Finnegan marching his way back to the front. But Gilbert fighting back up on the outside as they head down the front straightaway into turn number 1. So they're side by side all the way down into turn number 1. But Finnegan's going to have this advantage down on the bottom. And he is good. I think he's going to hold Zach up there, or excuse me, Travis Gilbert. I said Zach, sorry, Gilbert up there just long enough to let Brian Smith get alongside as well. So we'll see what happens.
Here we are, working lap number 60 of 96 laps here. Brian Smith looking to the inside of Travis Gilbert. He's going to go all the way down by the grass. He's looking for a 2-for-1 special here. Gives 2nd place to that 78 car, Brian Smith. And, you know, we haven't got to talk about him here in a minute, but you know, Jacob Smith, who won stage 2, finds himself mired all the way back here in the 17th position.
Not sure what happened there. He must have had a penalty on pit road, is my guess right now. Let me see if I can go back and find out where he's at here and see what happened. Not seeing, not quite sure what happened. Must have got a black flag for speeding on pit road or something like that. It's usually what happens when we see a guy fall back that fast. But unfortunately for Jacob Smith, he looked really strong through this whole race. And like you said, now back there in 16th.
Yeah, right there, back there in 16th. He's led 16 laps here today. Brian Smith, the best running Buddy Motorsports driver out there in the field today. He's led a total of 14 laps. Currently resides in third position.
Both Finnegan and Brian Smith set their sights on Jonathan Duncan. Jonathan Duncan just doing a hell of a job up there. Pitted back on lap 38. He's got old tires on his car. I mean, he's definitely not gonna be able to make it the distance here, but he's getting some laps. We got a caution. It looks like we've got another caution right here.
Oh boy, and Brock Kersey showing crash.
Hey, was that a?
That was a soft one, malfunction.
That's either a net code or something, because he just that was kind of odd. I don't even know what to think about that. Yeah, I don't know what happened right there.
I'm not exactly sure.
No, I'm gonna pull it up on a different screen here real quick and see if I can see what happened, because that was kind of puzzling. He had a little I think he had a little contact with the car that we just didn't see on the screen. Kind of an odd caution there, so I'm sure we're missing something, but
This is a debris caution. You remember the debris cautions that NASCAR used to throw?
yeah, all the time.
That essentially
Isn't it?
as I said,
That's one of the reasons Carl Edwards quit racing.
that, and I think that's what kind of morphed into the stages that we have today.
Yeah, trying to make up for some make some phony thrilling, you know.
At least they have a reason to throw it now.
Yeah.
I think that was having to come back over right now.
Hey, you would think so.
I think Travis Gilbert stayed out. Oh, wow.
Everybody diving down. Now, most leaders going in, but Gilbert, Roll, Lockett, and Brzezowski all going to stay out there on the racetrack, it looks like.
It's kind of shocking that Charles Van Schaik did not go in.
Well, you said he's the master at saving fuel, so maybe he's going to go the distance here. If we get another caution or two, it's definitely helping him out on the fuel mileage. Because we've definitely had a lot of, we've probably ran probably 10 or 11 caution flag laps here since we went back to green after the end of stage 2.
True. I see your point. I see your point.
But yeah, that's gonna be shocking if you can make it. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, if nothing else, he's on old tires, and right there behind him, Patrick Colby. They both pitted on lap 43. So let's see who's coming out of the pits here. So Finnegan going to come out in 10th. Brian Smith back in 13th, so our early race leaders have got some charging to do here. Kind of about 30 laps left to do it by the time we go back to green. This is going to get interesting. We've got some guys up in the front that haven't really been there all day long. Couple different, 2 or 3 different tire strategies here. So yeah, this is going to get interesting. Last 30 laps here, Alan.
Oh boy, I cannot wait.
So Gilbert, J-Roll, Zach. I want to call him Jack. I'm sorry, Zach. Zach Lockett there in 3rd. Our big mover, Nathan Brzezowski, there in 4th. Moved up, started back in 18th, up 14 spots. Actually, the biggest mover is Jonathan Duncan back there in 12th. He's up 16 or 17 spots now. Let's see, light's gonna go out here. We're gonna go around at least one more time. Here we go, one more time around. Gilbert Roll out in front. Lockett, Brzezowski, Van Schijk, Colby, Widener, Taylor, Tissio, Finnegan gonna round out the top 10. Well, let's see if Nathan Finnegan has the car, has the strength, has the setup to get back to the front. He is the first car on brand new tires, so we'll see what kind of advantage that's gonna help him with.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are doubled up 2 by 2. Noah's Arkansas behind that high rate with the field essentially. That second row there was Zach Lockett and Nathan Brzezowski. That's who I'm gonna watch on this restart. Is well, you know, here we are coming back to green once again. You know, this has been a great race so far here, as we just have 31 laps remaining.
Yeah, if I was rooting for somebody, I think you said this earlier, I'd have to root for Gilbert just because I like that paint job on that number 22 Ford.
That's going to be a fun interview.
Gilbert, Roll, Lockett. So Gilbert and Roll are going to bring us to the stripe. We head down to turns 3 and 4 right now. I think the odds of us making it to green all the way from here is pretty slim, but I think it's exactly what Finnegan and those guys need coming from the back. They need long green flag runs here.
Barney's got the green flag in hand. The pace car going to hand the controls over to Roll and Travis Gilbert. Iracing.com pace car makes that hard left through the Geico restart zone. And we are back to green flag racing.
Oh, it looks like Roll spun the tires there on the restart. That's going to let Gilbert with a good jump. Lucky he didn't spin him any more than that. Didn't pile the field up, but Gilbert going to get to the front. Roll going to tuck there in 2nd. Zach Lockett there in 3rd. Brzezowski and Colby going to round out the top 5 right now. So Gilbert with a good jump. We've seen the leader just about every restart so far get a little separation here. But Roll's kind of running him down the back straightaway. Let's see if he has anything as they get into 3.
Down the back straightaway. Roll looking underneath Travis Gilbert. Here comes the Rocket, Zach Lockett. He's entering into the party along with Nathan Brzezowski. Where did Patrick Colby come from?
Really good question. He pitted back on that 43, so he hasn't pitted for quite a while, but we look back a little further too. Nathan Finnegan started 10th on that restart. Already made his way up to 7th, and he's looking underneath Michael Taylor for that 6th spot heading down the front straightaway into turn number 1. And it looks like Finnegan's going to get that 6th spot away as Taylor just didn't have anything to fight with right there. And he's now moved up to 6th, up 4 spots in 1 lap after the restart.
Rookie lap number 6 here. 66 laps in the book. It's all Travis Gilbert all day long. Zach Lockett trying to make some things happen outside where Mama hides the cookies.
Look at Finnegan up on the outside of Colby. It's going to take that 5th spot away right now. The new tire is really paying off here for Finnegan. I think we're just going to see him charge through the field. Everybody in front of him on about 9 or 10 lap older tires. Finnegan just coming to the front, and unfortunately Brian Smith not making up as much ground right now. We figured this was going to come down between Smith and Finnegan, but Finnegan now charging through, just putting on a heck of a charge through the field right now. And let's see if he can find his way around Brzezowski here for 4th.
here we are coming out of turn number, this turn 2 now, coming down the back straightaway. Nathan Finnegan continues to hang on to the top spot. Here comes Brian Smith on the inside, and Michael Taylor going to go to blocking. Says not today.
Yeah, Smith looking under Van Schaik. Van Schaik on really old tires right now, just trying to run the fuel mileage game. Smith gets around him for that 8th position, sets his sights on Michael Taylor. Taylor pushes up the track right there, just gives him that bottom line. Taylor could not hold that bottom. Smith able to get around him easily. And just going to pull right up in front of him. Actually, Smith gets a little bit loose and going to let Van Schaik get by him as well here.
Here comes Charles Van Schaik going to fall in line. 15 laps in the history book. .68 down, 28 to go. Travis Gilbert out in front. We're watching this battle back here kind of in the middle of the pack. But Gilbert still out in front with J-Roll right there behind him. Lockett. And so far, Finnegan's charged back to the front. Has kind of stalled at 4th. And it actually takes 4th away from Brasowski right there. So Finnegan now up to 4th. Brian Smith wakes his way up to 6th around Colby as well. I think no matter how this shakes out, it's going to come down to Finnegan and Smith here at the end as they're both making their way back to the front. Yeah, absolutely. Nathan Finnegan back up to 4th. Brian Smith back up into the top 6. You know, as you look at the cars coming out the front runway, one car, that's Nathan Brasowski, separates Brian Smith and Nathan Finnegan.
Brasowski doing a good job holding on to that 5th position right now, but he's going to have his hands full here in about a half a lap, if not just the next corner with Brian Smith. Brian Smith looking to the inside down the back straightaway. He's going to have a run into 3 right here. He's going to waste no time taking that 5th position away from Nathan Brasowski. And now there's no cars between him and Nathan Finnegan as they're both charging to the front. But Finnegan now looking around the back bumper of Zach Lockett for that 3rd spot. He is right there on him, right underneath that spoiler. They head down the front straightaway into turn number 1 to start lap 70.
Yeah,
Actually start lap 71.
Yeah, lap 71, 70 laps in the history book. We're nearing the end of this one here. And I got to say, Brian Smith being down 2 spots, you know, he said at the end of stage 1, this is a track that he feels very comfortable in. Last year's winner here at this racetrack. Travis Gilbert, though, continues to lead the way by a half second.
Done a really great job up there on those old tires. He played a little bit of the fuel game. Found his way to the front here. Him and J-Roll both just doing a good job holding on to 1st and 2nd right now. But can they make it to the end on fuel? They pitted back on lap 52. So that'd be, what, 44 laps? I think they might be able to make it on that. So let's just see if the tires hold up for him.
Travis Gilbert leading the Indy stake as he goes off in number 1. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and step aside, take our final commercial break of the night. We'll be right back. You won't miss that. welcome back here. As we have 20 laps to go, we are under caution, and this is a incident for roll there, R-O-E-L-L, and this gets loosey, and he's gonna go ahead and just loop around, drop caution.
I couldn't tell if he was trying to dive down into the pits or what. Like you said, he got loose off before, tried to save it, got out of the throttle real hard, and got down on that flat part of the track, entering the pits, and just turned it around. I wouldn't be expecting him to pit at this time, but unfortunately, he was running really good there in second. You know, while we were way at commercial, I was watching Nathan Finnegan and Brian Smith, and they were reeling these top two in. Maybe J-Roll saw that coming and just tried to push a little bit too hard and ended up losing it right there. But everybody diving down into the pits right now. Travis Gilbert, Finnegan, and Smith, your top three, all kind of going to come down and put some new tires and top off with fuel for the last 20-lap run.
Yeah, absolutely. 20 laps to go. It's going to be 19 when we cross the line. Want to thank everybody for tuning in here in the YouTube.com live chat, making us a part of your evening here on SRM Racing Media and the Icon Cup Series. Shane Cochran will be back, and when we go to Watkins Glen next week, you have me, myself, and Dave Regal in the broadcast booth, bringing you all the action from Iowa. You know, and I am a huge fan of the Iowa Speedway. I love that place. It's grown near and dear in my heart. You know.
Yeah, just a couple races left after this to get into the playoffs. Should be interesting. Hey, I want to mention a couple people on the YouTube chat for us. Robert Roth reminding us that they run 60% fuel in this league, and then Shawnee chimes in and says fuel lasts about 23 laps. So that helps us out with this. So definitely, and also right before we went to commercial break, we saw Patrick Colby and Charles Van Schaik dive down into the pits and take some fuel, put tires on, and they're going to come out in front of this thing. So once again, Finnegan and Smith, you know, we saw them out front most of this race, but unfortunately find themselves behind a couple other cars as we're going to go back to the restart again.
Yeah, absolutely here. You know, like I said, what a great race this has been here. Patrick Colby, Charles Van Schaik. Charles Van Schaik is dangerous when he gets out front of the field. You know, he runs very well. He's got a couple wins this year. You know, we put on a master class of saving fuel. I think this is. I think I'm confident when we call this the final pit stop.
Oh, definitely. But we're going to go back to green with probably about 18 laps, maybe 17 laps to go. So I don't think fuel's not going to be a problem right now. The only difference is that Finnegan and Smith right there. And actually, look back there at fifth spot right now. Jacob Smith, after falling way back into the field, has now worked his way back up to fifth. So a great pit stop there. It looks like maybe he might have only taken 2 tires on. So we're going to have Finnegan, Smith, and Smith right there, third, fourth, and fifth. You know, if I'm Colby and Van Schaik right there sitting in the first and second right now looking in the mirror, you know, they know what's coming behind them. These three right behind them have been dominating this race most of the day. So keeping either Finnegan or either one of the Smiths behind him is going to be tough to do.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get ready to come back to green flag racing here with, like you said, 18 to go. The lights are out on that Iracing.com pace car. Patrick Colby in the roll tide. I always say go Auburn. Charles Van Schaik in the number 23 car. As we get ready to come back down the green flag racing here.
Isn't that supposed to be War Eagle, go Auburn? Roll Tide, go Bama? Is that no? I'm not from the South, and I know.
So Roll Tide
according
is Alabama.
to most people. Yeah, I know. I'm just making a joke, but I'm just saying most people in the South don't think anybody up in the Northwest knows anything about football anyway. So,
I mean,
we're gonna start the SEC battle.
Oh boy. I mean, you guys got the Oregon Ducks. You got arguably one of the best teams in the. I think it's what the Pac West Conference.
It's their Big Ten now.
Okay, I think the Oregon Ducks are going to do great things.
All right, we started with 32. We're down to 25 cars left on the racetrack right now. Patrick Colby and Charles Van Schaik bringing us to what hopefully is our last restart here.
Well, with that being said, the Iracing.com Patriot going to pull off on the pit road. He's going to get the field to Colby Van Schaik, CVS, as I like to call him, through the Geico restart zone, and we are back to green flag racing here with 18 laps to go. Here we go, starting down into turn number 1.
Kind of surprised Colby chose that outside line. As a matter of fact, but he's going to get a good start. He's going to wind up out in front. But Brian Smith from 4th up to 2nd. Charles Van Schaik here in 3rd, and Finnegan's going to get kind of pinched in there in 4th right now. Coming off a turn 2 down the back straightaway. He's going to take a look to the inside of Van Schaik going into 3. Is he going to have enough to get down and past him into the corner? It doesn't quite look like it. He's going to have to settle back into that 4th spot. Take another look right here. Van Schaik's going to shut the door. So right now, Colby out in front. He has got his hands full with Brian Smith and that 78 Ford Mustang right there all over the back of him.
Yeah, here we go. 16 laps to go. Patrick Colby doing Patrick Colby things. Here comes Brian Smith out of Buddy Motorsports as they do the Indy Snake. These guys are trying to break up the draft. Oh boy. And here comes Nathan Finnegan. He's looking maybe Brian Smith's going to wash up the racetrack, get a little loose, and that's going to allow Van Schaik. We're almost 3 wide. So
Looked like Brian Smith got a little bit loose, chased the car up the racetrack. That opens up the bottom for Van Schaik, Finnegan, and Jacob Smith. Finnegan now fighting back on the bottom. We've got a fight down the back straightaway. Van Schaik now into 2nd. Finnegan looking ready. Another caution comes out for, it looks like Brock Hersey again. Not sure what happened. Oh, that's too bad because we were about to have a heck of a finish right there. Hersey just gets loose off the corner. Can't save it, collects the 32. And a couple other cars are going to pile into that. Man, that's a shame that caution came out. We were in for some great racing up there in front. That might have been one of the first mistakes we've seen Brian Smith make all day coming off the corner. Just got loose, right in the middle of the corner actually, got loose, chased the car up the racetrack and just opened up that bottom groove. And the train came flying by.
you hate it for that battle because that was getting ready to get good.
So that is going to be Colby. Let's see here. Colby still out in front. Van Schaik, Finnegan, and Smith can be lined up behind him again. So basically the same positions we started the last restart on. Top 5 are going to be identical. As we're getting stacked up once again. It looks like Colby's going to choose that outside. It worked for him last time.
How about that move on that last restart? Brian Smith picking up 2 positions, you know, coming from 4th to 2nd and essentially a corner.
That was a heck of a move. You know, you see the opportunity, you know, as an old friend used to tell me, if the left front will fit, the rest will go. And I think Brian Smith saw that, just a small hole, but he took advantage of it up to 2nd. Let's see what he can do here on this restart. As we're going to have, I'm guessing, about 14 to go by the time we go green. And Smith drives into the wall right there on the caution lap. I'm not sure what that was.
We're getting there.
I hear somebody in the say, don't text and drive, so.
No, don't text and drive.
Don't text and drive. It's a good advice.
That's our public service announcement for tonight. Don't text and drive.
Our eighth caution flag of the night. I had to go look at that. I knew we'd been under caution quite a few times, but is that counting the stage cautions as well, I'm assuming?
So this is the 7th caution for
All right. Looks like we might be down to 20 cars left on the racetrack here. When we go back to green, we've got 4 or 5 cars down in the pits after that last crash, but Patrick Colby out in front, as Alan says, roll tide, go Auburn.
at
least one more time.
Go. Yeah. I tell you what, Chris, things are gonna get crazy.
From the action we saw on the after that last restart, I don't think we're gonna go green checkered here on these last 13 or 14 laps. I think we're gonna see at least one more caution. We got a couple cars out in front that haven't been there most of the day, but Colby looked really good on that restart. Van Schaik slipped back just a little bit. He's got Finnegan and the Smiths right behind him. The Buddy Motorsports of Brian and Jacob Smith rounding out the top 5. And look, we haven't talked much about Ryan Patty all day long, but he has found his way up to 6th, up 22 spots. I actually had not even noticed that on the last restart. So that number 30 Chevrolet, Ryan Patty's got himself into a shot here at the podium as well. This could get really, really interesting here on this last 13 laps, Alan.
Definitely the lights are getting ready to go out on the Iracing.com pace car. Look, I cannot wait. I mean, this is just crazy. Like I was saying.
Don't say that again, please. How'd you say that? One more time? I'm not going to try to. All right, I wasn't going to repeat it, so. I'm afraid my wife would have thrown something at me from the other room.
Well, we definitely don't want that, but we're going to get ready to come back down to green flag race here. Patrick Colby, Charles Van Schaik, Brian Smith, and that Buddy Motorsports. These guys have been doing this race, running a smart race all day long. We're going to come back to green with 12 laps to go.
Yeah, as we come to this last restart, hopefully here with about 12 to go, you can see the advantages you have being out in front. Whoever's out in front with that clean air is able to put some separation on the rest of the field. We saw Kobe do it on that last restart. Let's see if he can beat Van Schaik into one again. And I just think whoever gets that clean air first is definitely going to have the advantage here for this last few laps as we come down to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Here as we come down that long back straightaway at what we feel like is a snail's pace, but 70 miles an hour. And taking a look at the weather one more time, you can see the track temperature is just about right at 107 degrees, 54% relative humidity, and 85 degrees in the stands here. So these guys here in the Midwest, they got to pack that sunblock as we get ready to come back to green flag racing. Barney's got the flag stand, got the green flag in hand. The Iracing.com pace car pulls off onto the pit road, and 3, 2, 1. We are back to racing at Indy.
Colby with another good start. He's going to clear Van Schaik. I can see it already. But here goes, Brian Smith tried to fit in a hole. It was not there. Brian Smith had a little bit of run on Van Schaik. They make contact. Brian Smith going to go around. I don't know if he came down the racetrack there just a little bit. We're going to have to take a look at that. But Colby, Patty, and Finnegan make it through there. Unfortunately, Van Schaik, who'd done a great job making his way up to the front, is going to take the worst of that. So I don't know if we're going to have to take another look at that there, Alan. I'm not sure what happened on that restart. I don't know if maybe Brian spun the tires just a little bit or what, but.
Put the car in the hole he thought was there.
I think if you go back and look at that again, Alan, I think you might see the back of that car wiggle. I think he actually might have spun the tires just a little bit, and that's kind of what drove the car down the racetrack.
Let's do this. Let's go on board with the 23 of Charles Van Schaik. See what kind of. There we go. We're coming back to green. And insert Brian Smith. Here he comes, coming. Right there. There you see it.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell if, like I said, it's really hard to tell if Brian just moved down to that hole he thought was there. You know, I'd be really surprised if he really thought he had it cleared right there, or did he just kind of spin the tire? You can kind of see the car just take an abrupt left right there, down into Van Schaik. So, you know, like I said, I don't know if it's a mistake or he spun the tires around a little bit, but unfortunately, that took out a bunch of good cars right there with only about 10 laps left to go.
And we got a mess we got to clean up there.
But that is going to put Patrick Colby back to the front, and look who's sitting in second. Ryan Patty, all the way up from 28th. Finnegan right there behind him, and unfortunately, it looked like Jacob Smith also involved in that crash. Where is he down to now? He is back down to 17th. So that is going to take out two of the Buddy Motorsports cars right there, with Jacob and Brian both down in the field. Not enough laps to really make it up at this point. So
yeah, it's almost like you gotta get all the points you can get, especially when you're locked into the playoffs.
yeah, you know, we talked to Ryan Patty back during practice. He was just trying to get comfortable in the car, and we kind of brought him in for a little bit of interview, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm just trying to get comfortable. Can you leave me alone?" And so he looked really good in practice. Really didn't qualify well, but he has found his way to the front here. A little bit of good strategy, a little bit of running well, and also just a little bit of luck. Guys falling out in front of him. So let's see if Patty's got anything here for Colby when we go back to green. I think we're going to have about, what, lights are still on right now, so maybe about 9 laps left to go.
Yeah, definitely 9 laps left to go here in Indianapolis. And this is what we kind of knew was going to come. You know, stage 1 was a calm before the storm, as Michael Taylor, Brian Smith, Charles Vinchek, Cody Eldred, and Roll are all taking extended stays on pit road. Like, they're going to almost have to get mail there.
You have to send in a change of address to the post office anyway.
I mean, yeah.
All right, lights are going to go out here. 9 to go, so we're going to come around, take the green with 8 laps left to go. Can we go green checker with 8 laps to go? It's been getting a little bit dicey. Finnegan's led, what's he led? How many laps he led of this thing here early? So Finnegan has led, can't find my mouse.
13 laps so far.
There we go. Yeah, so
Jacob
Gilbert with 15.
Jacob Smith currently resides in the 17th position. He's led 16 laps.
Colby now on front, led 10 laps of this race. Patty there in second. Gilbert and Finnegan. So Finnegan started in 4th. He currently resides in 4th, as we're going to hopefully come to green for the last time here with 8 laps left to go.
Well, we got a back straightaway and 2 more corners to get through before.
All right, anybody out there in YouTube land? Who's your money on right here? 8 laps left to go. What do you think, Alan?
You know what, I've been wrong all weekend, and I think
Are you telling me you didn't pick Brian Shirley last night?
I did not. I picked the rocket ship, and my wife and 18-year-old picked the smooth operator. My father is a JD Superman fan. I'm gonna go Travis Gilbert there on the outside row number 2.
You know, I think Finnegan's going to find his way back to the front, but if it's not Finnegan, I'm looking at Patty right here. He's found his way up here to the front. I don't think he really thought he had a chance to be here when this race started in 28. So let's see what he can do here in these last few laps.
Well, here we go. Irish.com pace car on pit road. Did the guy go over to start zone? 8 laps to go from Indianapolis.
Once again, Colby gets a pretty good start, but Patty has got a nose underneath him as they head into 1. And it looks like Patty's going to have that inside line. Colby sees it, moves up the racetrack, gives him that line. Patty's gonna. They make a little bit of contact off of 1 right there. They're gonna head down that short chute into 2. Patty's gonna be out in front.
Oh!
And Colby with a crossover. He tried to dip back underneath right there, and we got a crash back behind us again. The 11 car. The 11 car Balloon Googles.
Here it is. And Robert Balloon Evan Patinko involved.
Yeah, it looks like, I don't think the 11 car knew they were 3 wide out there, and he kind of started to come down just a little bit and caught the nose of the 4. The 4 was in the middle. They were giving a little room to that car on the bottom. I think 81's kind of coming up there at the same time, so I think no matter what happened there, they were going to crash their 3 wide situation. That 81 of Evan Patnico, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but down there on the bottom, looked like he picked up a big push off the corner, but the contact had already been made right there behind him. So another caution flag. My money's on this coming down to a green-white checker there, Alan. I don't know about you.
It's starting to look that way. It's definitely starting to look that way.
So the 30 of Ryan Patty has made his way to the point. Started at 28th, now leading us race here. Patrick Colby second, Nathan Finnegan right there in third. So let's see what happens here on this restart. Let's see what kind of, Patty did a really good job on that restart of not letting Colby get a jump and take that inside line into turn number 1. Took advantage of that. Kept that bottom line and took the point here. So let's see if he can hang on to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, working 7 laps to go here. And that's it. This has been kind of what we expected here. These guys are cranked up the race.
Yeah, kind of expected a long green flag runs as we saw in the first stage, but ever since we have some cautions for the stages, cautions just kept piling up on top of us. As we are on our 10th caution flag of the race right now. We're gonna have we're gonna go around at least one more time. So at the best, we're gonna have 4 laps left to go, and as it keeps winding down, the fewer laps we're going to have to go once this race goes green, the more impatient people are going to be. So hopefully we can get some green flag laps here to finish this race off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, round out the top 10 right now. Ryan Patty, Patrick Colby, Nathan Finnegan, Travis Gilbert there in 4th. Adam Ball has worked his way up into the top 5. Zach Lockett in 6th. Jonathan Duncan's kind of been yo-yoing up and throughout the field all day long. Is now in 7th. Kyle Diaz 8th. Charlie Widener's found himself into the top 10 in 9th. He was lapped down really early on in this race. He was actually the lucky dog on the first stage, sitting there in 9th position. Jake Champion 10th. That's going to round out the top 10. We go back to 11th now with Nathan Brzezowski. Bentley Glazier, we haven't talked much about Bentley all day long, but he is sitting there in 12th. He started up in 10th, or excuse me, started in 2nd, and he has been mired kind of back in the middle to the back of the field all day long in 12th. Everett's going to be in 13th. Evan Patenko, who was involved in that last caution there a little bit, back in 14th. Charles Van Schaik, who was up in front a few laps ago, now back in 15th position. So looking for some exciting laps here to go. We're going to come around and take one more lap around. We're going to have about 4 laps left to go when we go green. All right, now who's your money on? Still the same?
I'm still going with Travis. Look, I'm telling you, I haven't been right all weekend. Might as well cap it off on a Sunday.
Gilbert's looking pretty good. He's on, everybody's on fresh tires. Tires aren't going to come into play here. Everybody up in the front's on about the same age tires and fuel. We ran enough caution flags here that, maybe they're a little bit cold. You got to get them warmed up, but I don't think we're going to have. Tires are definitely not going to come into play here, so everybody's kind of equal footing in there.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
All right, lights are finally out as we head into turn number 1. It's a long yellow flag lap here in Indianapolis.
It is long. We're anticipated here. Ryan Patty with the ECR CCR team. Patrick Colby out of Dragonfly Racing. Collar City Racing. Nathan Finnegan as we get ready to come back to Green Flag Racing. With 5 laps to go. When they cross stripes, it'll be 4 laps to go.
All right, let's see who's still got a little bit of energy left here. It's been a long day. The guys from practice to all the way to now, it's been about 3 hours. These guys have been sitting in the rigs running laps. You're up in the front right now. Your hands are getting a little bit sweaty, so let's see who's got 4 laps left in him here.
Well, we're gonna find out as these guys get ready to come through the Geico restart zone. But before that, we still got one more corner we gotta make.
So Patty's going to choose the bottom on this restart. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Iracing, that kind of pace truck is off the field in the hands of Patrick Colby and Ryan Patty through the Geico restart zone, and we are back to Green Flag Racing from Indianapolis.
Oh, Patty with a great start there. Colby, once again, it looked like that outside line spun the tires just a little bit, and he is opening up that bottom to Finnegan there. He kind of comes down and tries to close the door on him, but Finnegan forces his way in there. Colby has no chance but to stay up on the outside, and it's Patty out in front. Finnegan, we got a car around in the back. It looked like the 08. Saw one car spinning back. And we're going to stay clean and green here, it looks like. So we got Patty out in front, Finnegan, Colby with Gilbert there, your top 4. Patty with clean air. Let's see if Finnegan has anything for him. There's about 2 car lengths behind him now. They're going to come around here through 3 and 4. There's going to be 3 laps left to go when they cross the stripe.
We're loving, touching, and squeezing here in Indianapolis. Right now, there's more action than a Waffle House at 3 a.m. with this battle going on between Travis Gilbert and Patrick Colby.
Come across the stripe, 3 laps left to go. It's Patty out in front, Finnegan second, Gilbert and Colby side by side for third, and here comes Zach Lockett trying to find. Oh, and a little bit of contact right there.
Save.
What a great save! What a great save there by Travis Gilbert. How did he not go around? A little bit of contact there between him and Colby. That was the save of the day right there by Travis Gilbert. We're gonna have to go back and watch that when this one's over with. But Patty now out in front, and Patty putting some distance on Finnegan now with about 3/4 of a second gap.
Here comes the rocket, Zach Lockett. He's trying to run down that 28 car, 3 laps to go. You're not missing anything up in the front because it's Ryan Patty coming around to get the popsicle stick. 2 laps to remain here. And if you're Nathan Finnegan, the sands of the hourglass are running out.
With a really good run off of 4 right there. Actually gained a couple of car lengths on him. He's got 2 laps left to go. Let's see if he's got anything left. Patty up the racetrack just a little bit. Not able to hold the bottom as well as Finnegan was entering 1. Let's see what they can do in 2. Finnegan makes up a little bit more ground, the eyeball test, but Patty looks to have enough of a gap right here. If he can just run 1.5 more laps consistent, he is going to come home with the win after starting way back in 28th in this field.
Yeah, 2 laps to go, and Ryan Patty still leading this thing. Nathan Finnegan at 0.4 of a second. As we're going to come back down into the turn 3-4 complex as the popsicle sticks go down, the white flag comes out, and we're racing back to checkers.
Next flag's going to end it here as we take the white flag, and you can see Finnegan there has made up a bunch of ground on the back of Patty. Finnegan looks a lot better getting into the corners, able to hold that white line and take the shortest path around, but you can see him kind of sweep the car up off of 1, down into 2 now. Patty's still out in front. Finnegan starting to chase him down. Finnegan up the racetrack just a little bit as he enters the corner, but that gives him a pretty good run off of 2 down the back straightaway. I don't think he's going to have enough. I don't think Finnegan's got near enough time here. Maybe if he had about 5 more laps, but Patty looks to hold the lead all the way down the back straightaway into turn number 3.
Here we go into turn number 3 for the final time. Down the short stretch 2. down the short straightaway for the final time. In the corners 3 and 4. Barney's waving the white flag. But that's not going to matter as the field comes off for turns 3 and 4. And Ryan Patty, not feeling comfortable in practice, will take the Brickyard.
What a great run from Patty there.
Nathan Finnegan will finish second. Patrick Colby will round out your podium. Well, Chris,
They ran out.
I was going to say, Brian, it was Buddy Motorsports winning the stages, but when it came down to it, Ryan Patty out of ECR, CCR was there at the end.
Just a great run all day long from Patty. Took advantage, like we said earlier, took advantage of some situational, had some good situational awareness, pitted when he needed to, missed the accidents, just worked his way up through the field. Finnegan, I think, was probably the faster car throughout the whole day, but just not able to run him down. It's just a big advantage to be out in front here with that clean air. But if you're behind somebody, there's just so much turbulent air right there that the car is just you're kind of fighting a little bit more, and you're not able to drive the car near as hard as you'd like to.
Ryan Patty getting ready to come down here to the front stretch. He's going to burn it down.
Looks like Ryan Patty's struggling a little bit with his donuts, so he's going to try again here.
I give him a solid 3.5 on the donuts.
He's trying. Maybe he's just too good at tires on the back. He's going to do a burnout instead.
He's having fun. We're having fun.
A lot more excitement than I expected to have here at Indy. Like I said earlier, I really thought we were going to have some really, really long green runs, but 10 to 11 caution flags just really broke this race up, and that's really what allowed Patty to get to the front here. I think if we'd have went long green flag runs, I don't think it would have been really tough to come from that far back in the field. So these caution flags really helped Ryan Patty get to the front.
Absolutely, as we already got our top 3 up here. We are going to go ahead and talk to our race winner, Ryan Patty. And Chris, he is with you up in the booth.
Hey, Ryan, you got Chris Murphy here with you in the booth. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Chris, doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Hey, great, man. That was a hell of a race to watch. We talked to you before the race even started. We kind of interrupted your practice session. You said you were still getting comfortable. You looked pretty damn comfortable out there to me, buddy.
Hey, I'm a little surprised as well as the race went. I think a little fortuitous with some other folks getting taken out there. There were definitely some faster cars in front of me that had some bad luck. Probably wouldn't see myself in victory lane if it wasn't for that. But, my goal today was to keep the nose clean and get a top 10. And, we got both, and we took it home a checkered.
That's great. Like I said, you were top 5 in practice, but you qualified way back in 28th. Did you just kind of miss something there in qualifying, or?
So I was actually penalized this week with a DNQ. I wasn't allowed to qualify. So, just kind of started from the back without a qualifying lap, and you missed out on all the stage points. Wasn't able to get any stage points, unfortunately. But
yeah, we missed that earlier. But yeah, you really, come on, you're sitting back there in 28th, and you start this race here at Indy. Do you really think you have a chance to get it to the front, even a podium, much less the win?
No, man. Like I said, I'm not even kidding when I said my goal would be to get a top 10, because the air, if you talk to anybody, they say that the air is so hard to, it ruins the car. Every time you try to pass a car in front of you, there's so much air interference that the nose takes off, and then as soon as you get in clean air, the front end grips and the rear end wants to kick around. So, driving in traffic all day long was ridiculous, and getting that last 4 or 5 laps there out front was the easiest laps I drove all day. But before I go, I do have to thank Nathan Finnegan. I didn't turn a lap at Indy since last year until just now, and had great notes from this week. Great teammate, and I wouldn't be here without him.
Well, awesome! Congratulations on the win. What my first time with Icon, and just a great race to have my debut with. So congratulations on the win again, and just a great job. And hopefully we'll see you next week at Iowa.
Yeah, you bet, Chris. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you.
And that was the voice of Ryan Patty. Up next into the booth, this driver needs no introduction here as we welcome in Nathan Finnegan. Nathan, you know, if you can't score to win, at least your teammate does.
Yeah, we're definitely happy for the 30 team. Ryan ran an awesome race. Strategy definitely worked in his favor, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And he was getting some good opportunities on some restarts and getting the right lines for the right runs early on when we were caution after caution, and we kept our nose clean. And we're happy that we could help be a part of getting him there. As much as we played a role, he ran an awesome last stint there. The last couple laps, I was throwing everything at it, but the dirty air was just too much to kind of overcome that late in the run. And big shout out to Patrick. Him and Charles had an awesome strategy that fell right in their lap too, and that almost worked out for them as well. But yeah, we're definitely happy with the P2. Would have loved to be able to kiss the bricks, but we're glad that it's still gonna be in the shop anyway.
I feel like next week at Iowa, that track really, serves your driving style, and the way in your racing style. Are you looking forward to going to Iowa next week?
Yeah, I love that track. I think it's such a fun place to run, especially with these cars. They're light, and you can really get them to rotate in the right rear. And really, if you can take care of your stuff, it'll pay dividends in the long run. We had a really strong run there last year. Unfortunately, speeding on pit road bit us, and that we never unfortunately were able to recover. But yeah, we're looking forward to that one. Definitely some tracks coming up that we're looking forward to that we have circled.
Absolutely. But before we get you out of here, who do you like to think and who helped you get it done there in that number 6 car?
Yeah, big shout out to the CCR, ECR guys. Congrats again to Ryan for the win. Adam also in the 19 giving us a big push. Cody helping with some strategy there too at the end, despite the damage that he had, but he was on top of the box. And really appreciate you guys doing the broadcast each and every week for our league and the support that you guys have for us, as well as my parents for tuning in and my wife as well.
Awesome. Well, good. Congratulations on that P2 finish, and we'll see you next week at Iowa.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And that was the voice of Nathan Finnegan. Last but certainly not least, Chris, this other driver needs no introduction as we're getting ready to roll tide with Patrick Colby.
Hey, Patrick, you got Chris Murphy here in the booth, buddy. Just a great run there in third. How do you feel about that?
Man, I think about what could have been there, just kind of losing that lead there on one of those last restarts. But still, all in all, I'm really happy to get back up to third after being 25th at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, about second or third restart towards the end right there. You had the lead over Charles Van Schaik there. You did a good job on the outside, got down in front of him. I thought you really had a shot right there. Did you think if we could have gone green from there on out, you think you had a shot at winning this thing?
I know I had the field cleared by about a second on one of those restarts, and from there I'd hoped it had gone green because I had the fresh air, and I didn't think anybody was going to get to me with the dirty air. So, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Unfortunately, I didn't execute there on one of those last restarts with Patty to my inside. Should have taken the outside, but, it is what it is. That's racing.
Yeah, you looked really good there at the end. So when you got it behind somebody, what was that doing to the car?
Man, you lost the nose. It picked it up off the ground. You weren't getting any air to that front splitter, and it just skidded across the track. So it was really, really hard to kind of turn behind anybody, especially way back in the pack.
Yeah, we could see everybody kind of struggling with that. Anybody that fell back to the pack trying to come through the front. So you started back there in 9th, up 6 spots up into 3rd, led for quite a while there. We were kind of pulling for you, hoping you were going to hold on to front. But like you said, that last restart, Patty was able to sneak up alongside you and take that lead away. And then Finnegan was up alongside you there as well. So good job fighting there in 3rd. Hey, before we get you out of here, you got anybody you want to thank?
Of course, I thank my wife, who always supports me in my silly racing that I do a couple nights a week. So she's awesome helping, being a cheerleader this season. Appreciate her.
That's somebody that's raced for a long time. I know that's an important thing. So great seeing you this week, Colby. Good run. Hopefully that's going to help you secure your spot in the top 16 for the playoffs with 2 more weeks left to go. So congratulations and good luck next week at Iowa.
Here's hoping. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You bet. Are you there with us, Alan?
Yep. So that concludes
right.
the interview portion. Sorry.
No worries, buddy.
And we're going to go over that finishing order one more time. As we heard from our top three, Ryan, Patty, Nathan Finnegan, and Patrick Colby. Zach Lockett will bring it home fourth. Kyle Diaz will bring it home fifth. Sixth to go to Adam Ball. Travis Gilbert will go finishing seventh. Nathan Brazowski will finish eighth. Bentley Glazer will finish ninth. Evan Patinko will finish 10th. Charlie Widener will finish 11th. Roll will finish 12th. 11th to go to Charles Van Schaik. Jacob Smith will finish 14th. Matt Everett will finish 15th. While Jonathan Duncan will bring it home 16th. 17th to go to Mike Grinnell. And Jake Champion will round out your top 18 spots. Looking a little bit deeper in the field, Brock Hersey will finish 19th. Charles Woods will finish 20th. Robert Bloom will finish 21st. Anthony Tizio will finish 22nd. Cody Eldred will finish 23rd. 24th to go to Brian Smith. Michael Taylor will finish 25th. 26th to go to Tyrone Harris. 27th to go to Chris Camburn. Kevin Gunther will finish 28th. And rounding out your field here tonight, Hanover Fitz will finish 29th. Brad Delph 30th. Cody Neal will finish in 31st. And winning the race to the beer stand tonight will be Braxton DeWeeson at 32nd spot. Before we get out of here, any closing thoughts?
Wow, I guess it's really about the only thing. It was an exciting race all the way throughout. I really thought it was going to come down to Finnegan and either Brian Smith or Jacob Smith, but as you can, as usually happens in any of these races, you can never really plan for what's going to go on throughout. So 10 caution flags, just really. Like Ryan said in the interview, if it hadn't been for that and a little bit of luck here and there, there's no way he'd have made it all the way to the front. But he took advantage of every single, any chance that came up. So it was a really great race to see him get up in the front. And, just for my first time here with Icon, just a great bunch of guys, fun racing to watch, and just a lot of fun being in the booth with you, Alan. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we close out every show, as you walk through the streets of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.